Well, battling and beating cancer can be such an emotional journey with the highs and lows for patients and their loved ones. And that's why next month, Lurie Cancer Center is hosting a survivor's walk and a celebration in Grant Park. And more than 3,000 cancer survivors and their supporters are expected to participate. And we want you to know it's open to anyone whose life has been impacted by cancer. I know so many of us have stories, whether it's our personal story or someone else. And joining us now, Danielle Cantfield-Carter, a uterine cancer survivor. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
And we also have Dr. Emily Hinchcliffe, a gynecologic oncologist at Lurie Cancer Center, who treated Danielle. So thank you both for coming in and joining us here on the show. We appreciate you being here.
Of course. Thank you.
It's always good to hear the personal stories when you talk about a celebration coming up and a walk coming up. And Danielle, I know it's tough sometimes to get on TV and share your story, but I know it's important for you to do that. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey?
Of course, happy to. So I was diagnosed when I was 32 years old, which is a little young for the type of cancer that I had for uterine cancer. The year leading to the diagnosis was full of just abnormalities that I was feeling, a little bit more lethargic, a cycle that didn't stop, essentially continued spotting, things like that.
And those were some of the things that made you say, wait, something's not right.
Something's not right, right. So a friend of mine actually had fibroids, and she was like, hey, this is probably what you have. So I was so confident walking into the doctor's office that it was that, and then much to my surprise and everyone around me, it was cancer.
Wow. And before I check in on how you're doing now, Dr. Hinchcliffe, how important is it when you do have something that doesn't seem right to come and check it? Because I know sometimes we say, oh, it's so hard to get a doctor's appointment right now.
Yeah, so I think it's really important to mention that endometrial cancer is one of the few cancer types that it's actually rising in incidence, meaning it's becoming more common. And so exactly as Danielle mentioned, the symptoms can be these vague, some sort of abnormal bleeding, spotting, maybe some pelvic pain that you hadn't experienced before. Keeping an eye out for those symptoms, especially for people where it's more common, like those who are after menopause, is really important. And in Danielle's case, as she mentioned, she's on the much younger side than average, but still her awareness that something just wasn't right, that's so important.
Yeah, and we have, I know you were talking about some of those uterine cancer symptoms. We have some of those on the screen right now. And Danielle, what was your journey like in being treated and just going through this journey? And how long was that journey for you?
The journey for me, diagnosis was in October, and I made it into remission the following June. What it looked like was, I guess after some testing in the MRI, we kind of saw exactly how far the cancer had spread. The option for me was to have a hysterectomy. So in January of the following year, I had a hysterectomy. But before I went through that procedure, I did go through IVF. Being on the younger side, newly married, wanted to start a family, going through IVF was super important to me. So I did that and then had the hysterectomy, and from there went through some rounds of radiation.
Oh, wow. And we know this June 1st, Cancer Survivors Walk actually falls on, is it National Cancer Survivors Day? So what a symbolic moment. How important is it for you first, Danielle, to be able to participate in this, and also, Doctor, for you to be able to be there alongside, whether it be your patients or just those still going through the process?
Yeah, it's so important to me. One thing I learned through my cancer journey is to celebrate the small moments. So it's just a time to celebrate and reflect and to be amongst others. So it means a lot. Hopefully we can just spread awareness through this walk, and also, yeah, in every way that we can.
Yeah, and I would say that as a provider, I think it is so meaningful for me to be able to not only support my own patients, but cancer touches so many people's lives in so many different ways. And I have a small glimpse of that as a provider, but everyone at the walk has a different story for why they're there, who they're there for. And so it's just such a wonderful experience being surrounded by that energy and really kind of the everyone coming together for a common cause.
Yeah, I was thinking about just that community and also that inspiration, especially for those who may be still, like you said, trying to celebrate the small wins on a really long journey. Thank you both for joining us here on the show. Thank you for sharing your story and just your expertise with us. Danielle Cantfield-Carter, Dr. Emily Hinchcliffe, there we go. Thank you so much both for joining us. And we do want to note that Lurie Cancer Center's Cancer Survivors Celebration Walk and 5K again takes place Sunday, June 1st. It's at Grant Park. The information on your screen here. You can register online at Lurie Cancer Center's website, cancer.northwestern.edu. So make sure to look that up if you or someone you know has been impacted.